Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is Mr. Chavla, and today I'm going to be going over the January 2017 Common Core Algebra 2 exam. I'm going to start off by going over the Part 1 questions. And it's Mr. Chavla or Mr. C, and I'm going to see if I could get either numbers 1 through 8 or maybe even 1 through 12 done in this video, alright? So this will be the Part 1 key, and let's just say we get through numbers 1 through 8 in this video, and if we get done with more, that'll be even better, right? And again, it's Mr. Chavla, and we're going over the January 2017 Common Core Algebra 2 exam. Let's go. So, number 1, relative to the graph of y equals 3 sine x, what is the shift of the graph of y equals 3 sine x plus pi over 3? So basically, all this question is asking is, how is the graph of y equals 3 sine x? Whoa. How is that graph translated or shifted to form this new graph? So all you need to do is, if you know your translations, everything is the same in the two functions. The only difference is that inside the parentheses in the second function, you have plus pi over 3. Anytime you add inside parentheses, it ends up shifting to the left. All right, so this has to do with translations of functions, okay? Translations of the graph. So that's what you need to look up. So let's look at number 2 now. A rabbit population doubles every 4 weeks. There are currently 5 rabbits in a restricted area, and t represents the time in weeks. P of t is the population of rabbits with respect to time. About how many rabbits will there be in 98 days? So first thing, guys, if t is the weeks, right? And P of t is the population, they said that we started with 5 rabbits, right? That's the initial amount, and then it doubles, but it doesn't double every week. When it doubles every 4 weeks, P of t will be equal to 5 times 2 to the t over 4. If it's every 4 weeks, then we have to have 4 in the denominator of this exponent. Now the next thing, they said about how many rabbits will there be in 98 days. We need to convert this days into weeks, since t is equal to the number of weeks, not days. So since there's 7 days in a week, let's just find out how many weeks this is, right? So 98 days divided by 7 days per week will give you 14 weeks. So that'll be t in weeks, right? So we want to find p of 14 is equal to 5 times 2 to the 14 over 4. And let's go to our calculator here and find out what that is. So 5 times 2 to the 14 over 4 is about 56.57, but we can't have 56 point anything rabbits. It has to be a whole number. So let's see which one best represents. So clearly these other numbers are too high, and it's choice 1. It's about 56, even though it would have rounded up to 57, right? But that's okay. So we got our answers for number 1 and number 2. Moving right along. And this number 2 is about knowing how to write exponential functions. Um, like understanding that if it doubles every 4 weeks, it's going to be 2 to the t over 4. Had it been every 3 weeks, it would have been 2 to the t over 3. All right, let's go to number 3 now. When factored completely, that's important, it's factored all the way. M to the 5th, and I'll just rewrite it over here, plus m cubed minus 6m is equivalent to, so we could have done this in the calculator, but let's do this by hand. The first step is to factor out the GCF, which is m. And if I factor the m out, it'll be m to the 4th plus m squared minus 6. Now we're looking at this trinomial, and it's not a regular quadratic. When you have when it started off raised to the 4th power, m to the 4th plus m squared minus 6, what you could do is you can factor it the same way you would with a quadratic, but instead of two binomials beginning with m, we'll start with m squared. So we want two factors of negative 6 that also add to the coefficient here, which would be positive 1 of m squared. So 3 minus 2 is 1, and 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. So we have a positive 3 and a negative 2. Now neither of these, so m cannot be factored any farther. M squared plus 3 cannot be factored either, nor can m squared minus 2, since neither of those is a difference of squares. So our answer would be m squared plus 3, and m squared minus 2, which would be choice 4. Right, that is completely factored. And you could have used your calculator to confirm, but let's move along for now. Number 4, I'll minimize me for now. If sine square of 32 degrees plus cosine square of m is equal to 1, then what does m equals? Guys, all we're doing is we're using the fact that sine square of any angle plus cosine square of that angle is equal to 1. So m has to be the same as 32 degrees. So it's choice 1. Okay? And you could have, again, used your calculator to confirm, but that was not necessary. Moving along, we're making good pace. Hopefully you're catching along, are you? Pause the video if you need to. Now let's go to number 5. I actually like this question. I found it interesting. What is the solution to the system of equations? Y equals 3x minus 2 and y equals g of x, where g of x is defined by the function below. So if you look at g of x, it's clearly a quadratic. It has only one x-intercept at 2. So it's the graph of y equals x squared shifted right 2 units. So we'll say g of x, when it's shifted right, remember in number 1 when it was shifted left, it was plus pi over 3 for pi over 3 left. Now if it's shifted right, it's going to be x. Instead of x squared, right, let's say we had y equals x squared, shifted right, it becomes x minus 2 units to the right squared. Now what we want to make sure is that we have the correct a value, right? Meaning the leading coefficient. So what I'll do is I'll just look here at the point at the y-intercept 4, right? If I were to square this x minus 2, it will become x squared minus 4x plus 4, which is the y-intercept. So our a value is just 1. So I could just simplify this to g of x is equal to x minus 2 squared without the 1 coefficient, which is also this equation, all right? But even without knowing any of that, guys, let's say, they say what is the solution to the system? Where y equals 3x minus 2 and y equals g of x, with g of x is defined by this function and this graph. Well, 0, negative 2 would be down here. It's not on the graph, so these two are out. 1, 6 is also clearly not on the graph because that would be up here. So just by elimination, guys, we have choice 4. Now, just to confirm that it's true, I'm not even going to do it algebraically. Let's keep it simple. Let's make sure it satisfies both equations. So when x equals 1, y has to equal 1. Let's make sure that works for this one. So g of 1 is equal to 1 minus 2 squared. That's equal to negative 1 squared, which is equal to positive 1. So 1, 1 checks out for this one. Let's check for y equals 3x minus 2. Y equals 3 times 1 minus 2. 3 times 1 is 3, minus 2 is 1. So 1, 1 checks out for both of them, right? So 1, 1 is good. Let's do the same thing for 6, 16. So g of 6. G of 6 is going to equal, if I substitute 6, minus 2 squared, that's 4 squared, which is 16. So 6, 16 checks out. And now let's check for the other one. Y equals 3 times 6 minus 2. 3 times 6 is 18. Minus 2 is also 16. So 1, 1, and 6, 16 is a solution to both equations. All right, we could have done this algebraically or a lot of other ways, but I felt like just seeing that it was a giveaway that in choices 1 and 2, 0, negative 2 was not on the graph, and choice 3, 1, 6 was not on the graph. So by elimination, it had to be choice 4. So I kind of thought that was cool. Moving along now. And the topic would be quadratic linear systems. Now, number 6. Which statement about statistical analysis is false? And I'll pull myself back up and sit up a little bit. Which statement about statistical analysis is false? So let's take a look at this. Choice 1, experiments can suggest patterns and relationship in data. Of course they can. So that's not false, so I'm not going to pick that one. Experiments can suggest cause and effect relationships. Absolutely. Experiments are the only kind of statistical study that could determine cause and effect relationships. No other statistical study can do that. So that's out. Now, when I look at choice 4, observational studies can determine cause and effect relationships. Absolutely not. Only experiments can do that. All right, if you look up the different types of statistical studies, only experiments can establish cause and effect relationships. So when they say which statement about statistical analysis is false, saying that observational studies can determine a cause and effect relationship, anything other than experiment, saying that anything other than an experiment can determine a cause and effect relationship is a lie. So the answer to what's false will be choice 3. All right, and let's look at the last one. 4, observational studies can suggest patterns in relationship in data. Yeah, absolutely. There's a big difference between a cause and effect relationship and just a pattern and relationship. All right, I'm going to minimize me. I'm going to look at number 7. Ooh, excuse me. The expression m squared over m to the 1/3, all raised to the negative 1/2 power, is equivalent to, and they're giving it in radical form. So the first thing we'll do, guys, is remember when you have a fraction raised to an exponent, it's the same as the numerator raised to that exponent over the denominator raised to that same exponent, which means you can, when you raise a power to a power, you simply multiply the exponents. 2 times negative 1/2 is negative 1. 1/3 times negative 1/2 is negative 1/6. Now also remember this, guys. When you have a negative exponent, what was in the numerator is going to be moved to the denominator, and what was in the denominator will move to the numerator if the exponent is negative. So now what we're going to do, guys, is, and I clearly made a mistake somewhere, m to the 1/6 over m. Oh, no, I didn't make a mistake. What we're going to do now is when you divide two exponents, you have to, when you divide two bases where it's the same base, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. When you divide two exponential expressions where they have the same base, then all you have to do is subtract the exponents. And I'm going to rewrite 1 as 6 over 6, so we have like denominators. 1 minus 6 is negative 5. All right? Now, I hope you're following this, guys. I hope I didn't make too much of a mess. When you have a negative exponent, it's same as 1 over m raised to the positive exponent. And you see it has to be in radical form. So what we'll do is we have 1 over. When we put the root sign, guys, the denominator goes in the index. The base is raised to the exponent inside the radical symbol. So we should have something that's either equal to or equivalent to this. So 1 is out, 3 is out, 4 is out, 1 over the 6th root of m to the 5th is our answer. And it's choice 2. And you could have used your calculator and gone to tables to confirm. We're making good pace. Make sure you understand how to convert from exponent to radical form and also the properties of negative exponents. All right, moving on to number 8. What is the inverse of the function y equals log 3x? Guys, any equation of the form y equals b to the x and the equation y equals log base b of x are inverses. All right, so log base 3, the inverse should be y equals 3 to the x. Choice 3. All right. And we could go into the details of that, but I won't even do that right now because that's all we really needed to do. All right, I want to see how much time I spent here. Guys, I think I'm going to pause not pause, I'm going to stop the video for now because I don't want it to go over time. I hope I didn't go through these too fast. If you have any questions, guys, please let me know in the comment sections below. And if you enjoyed the video, if you found it useful, please hit like and subscribe. I'd appreciate that very much. If this goodbye is rushed, because it's not really goodbye, I'm going to jump straight to the next video where I'm going to start off with number 9, all right? Take care, guys. Good luck, and I hope to see you on the next video soon. Bye for now.